time out of your, I'm sure, packed TwitchCon weekend. My name is NubbinsInc. I'm the social media manager for Streamlabs, and I'm here joined by our panel of creators and developers to talk to you all about the future of the live streaming space and what creators and technologists are doing to essentially push that industry forward. So, Halite, if you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Hunter, or Halite Hunter. I create content on basically every single platform, and I've been creating content for almost 5 years, so I guess content creation, I've been doing this for a while.
I'm Boze. I am a true crime live streamer on Twitch, and I do like kind of a couple different things. But yeah, we do like YouTube, Twitch. I try to do socials, you know, and I'm sure we'll talk about that today. But yeah, that's what I do.
I'm Ashray. I'm the head of product at Streamlabs. You know, thank you everyone for making it out to this. We're really excited to have this conversation with some great streamers. And yeah, based in San Francisco, been with Streamlabs for about 5 years.
Hi, I'm Taylor. Go by WarChamp7 online. I've been a volunteer contributor to OBS since, I guess, when Lane first posted it on the StarCraft subreddit. So since 2013, it's been a long journey. I've worn a lot of hats, and I guess right now the more formal title would be, I guess, product design. The internal name is I'm the UX overlord. We've been doing a lot of work to make the UI a little bit friendlier, a little bit easier to use. So that's been my current focus the last little while.
Awesome. So, so the first question, as we are all aware, I'm sure, the streaming space is terminally online, and I think one of the wonderful things about working and participating as a creator in this industry is you are really intimately close with your user base. People are very prone to give feedback and let you know about your products and things. So, what has been sort of the benefit of being this enmeshed with your end user? Taylor, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the biggest one is obviously like being an open source project. A lot of our developers are creators themselves, so we've had a lot of stuff added to the program or requested in the program that was basically worked on by the people that wanted it. So that's been super beneficial to us to just have a direct relationship with the program being worked on by the people who want those things in the program. It's been a bit of a journey with some of those things kind of being a feature that a person's like, they want this thing, and we're like, oh yeah, we can see how that would be useful to a lot of people, and we've just kind of let it happen. Mm-hmm. And now we just have this gigantic settings window with a billion things to change, and it's super intimidating and super scary. So it's been a challenge to try and find that balance of giving everybody every feature that they want, because we are serving not just content creators on like Twitch and YouTube, but like high school students, college professors, churches, like everything you can think of. OBS is kind of this multi-tool for a lot of different people, and it's hard to serve every single one of those demographics. So the biggest thing is that we, as developers, are creators ourselves, and we just have a lot of them in our community, and we just interface with them directly. The second part of that is we've been trying to create more opportunities for people to speak with us and give us their suggestions, their ideas, their feedback. So we have the ideas.obsproject.com where people can suggest stuff. We have our Discord channels where people can come in and talk to us directly. The whole team's in there. We're all very easy to reach. And it's more just improving the discovery of those things. Like I don't know how many people even know that we have the Ideas website, for example. Yeah. We're working on being better about putting those avenues of connecting with us out there.
Yeah, no, and like, for Boze and Hunter, like, I'm sure that as creators, you have this desire to be creative, because at the end of the day, streaming is a creative endeavor. So, what has been your experience as the user of these tools to work with companies to, maybe come up with these ideas or find ways to implement your ideas, if any?
I think, wait, also, can I say first of all, this is a packed room.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. I'm like, are y'all streamers? Can I get like a hand if you're like a streamer or something? Okay, that's good. And then I also know there's some shy people that are not gonna raise their hand. That's okay. Or you're like thinking about it. Well, I hope that, we give some information that's interesting to you or, like pertinent. But To answer your question, tools that creators use. I gotta be honest, there are so many tools that keep coming out, and you guys are streamers, you probably know too. We don't know like how to pick them. Like, you know, I think the way that a tool gets passed on to me as easily as possible is seeing other creators use it and just seeing them use it so casually, and I'm like, oh, that's what that's used for. Okay, well, I'm gonna copy that. But like, if you just give me like a description and you're like, try this new tool, like I don't know about you, but like, I don't know if I'm gonna.
I think that the best part about like being so hands-on and being able to talk about like what we're going to be making, like if I'm trying to come up with an idea and like something that's like pretty small, but it makes a huge difference if I'm doing like a sleep stream, and like I can incentivize the viewers to interact with me by like using something like sounds to keep me awake. Like you can create a much more interactive experience for the viewer, which is like what we're all trying to do. We're just trying to create an experience for the people who are watching, or like take our creative ideas and bring them to life. So whenever we're creating these tools for streamers and talking about what we should make, I think at the end of the day, it's just like having every tool in our arsenal. So if we come up with a concept, it's not like, well, like I don't have the technical skills to put together something in OBS to make sure that I can do all this. Like having all these tools at our disposal as creators right now, it's insane. Like you can multi-stream, like you can do so many different things, and like something as simple as like a timer. Like just having a timer on my screen, like I'm like, wow. Like I remember like whenever I first started streaming, like I had like overlays, and I was like, I'm a pro now.
That's pretty,
like,
yeah. Your first animated, everybody remembers their first animated overlay. Like, I'm so legit now.
Yeah, I didn't even realize, because I feel like the time has passed. Back in the day, because I've been streaming for like 8 years. How long you've been streaming for a long time too?
Yeah, so I mean, I wasn't doing it like full time, like I'm gonna do this, till like 4 years ago. But I mean, I was like on my Xbox streaming Fortnite. I was like, I'm the next ninja. It's my time.
Dude,
so.
back in the day, like when we wanted to do something, if we were streaming, we're like, yo, I got an idea, I want to do something. You'd have to have like some dude in the chat with some technical knowledge that like really likes your stream. He's like, I can build that for you. Like, that's, I mean, it's real. That's what we would do back in the day. And now you guys do it for us.
And I think like as developers in the space, right, this is something we're always reminded of when we go to events like TwitchCon. Like creating content is so personal and so unique, and we have so many tools out there, and it's about the discovery of the tools and making sure people are recognizing like, hey, we offer tools that'll help you do exactly what you're trying to accomplish. Here are the set of tools that are perfect for you. And in person, it's so much easier, but making that discovery like more automated, more self-driven, creating the content around that to really help people figure out like whatever you want to do, odds are there's a good number of tools that we've made that can help you do that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, you know, I think the big thing that it's important to touch on is, you know, at the end of the day, a tool is just a tool. A widget's just a widget. It, you know, like your timer, for example, at the end of the day, it's how you implement that creatively within your content that is what helps it really, really stand out. So I'm actually curious, like what's been the most interesting, like, oh, I never knew that you could use that way kind of thing. If ever you've seen something like on somebody else's stream that like really caught your eye, like, oh, I had no idea that I could use this that way. So I think the sleep streaming thing, while you ponder the answer, because I think the sleep streaming thing is a really interesting way to do it, because, you know, having sound alerts is kind of a fairly standard tool. There's plenty of tools that do sound alerts, and you can incentivize them however you want. But the idea of adapting, say, for example, the sound alert system into a sleep stream or a horror stream or things like that, you know, that implementation is creative. It's a creative use of that tool.
I would say probably the thing that's the most impressive to me is whenever I see people like integrating like their room into the stream. So like, I don't know if they're coding. I have zero ball knowledge. I have no technical skills. Like I'm like just a fan. So like if I see people like their lights are going off, like if it is a horror stream, like they're like I don't know how they're doing it, but like it's so much more immersive, and like I think that it, not just for the viewer but for the creator, like you're able to create like an environment for yourself where like if you're getting jump scared and like the lights in your room like are changing colors and stuff, like I had like an LED strip that like if we were doing a horror stream I'd like change it red, and I was like, this is it. Like nice. I'm like really in my bag right now. So, yeah, I just think it's so cool to see what people can take that's readily available and then like turn it into something really special and fun. And so, yeah, like seeing people create the environment in their own environment with the stream, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think that's so cool.
I think, I feel like I'm so bad at panels. One thing that I really like seeing utilized is people putting the chat like on screen. Because I think that's what makes a stream a stream. It's like the liveliness of, you know, the viewers and bringing in that energy. And it's interesting because I feel like there's such a missed opportunity to like, you know, change layouts or change the ways the chat like shows up on the screen, to change the energy of it all, because that chat is what makes a Twitch stream different from a YouTube video, right? And so like I feel like right now we just have this thing where we throw it up on the screen, and one thing I find is that like my fan base, they love saying something in Twitch chat and then maybe it shows up like in a video later like on YouTube, and so like they're just always going nuts in there, and it makes it feel more alive, because that's also why we watch streams, because we're watching with other people, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a group experience. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, you know, two examples that pop into my mind is just, you know, I think interactive overlays can get really cool, kind of building on what Halite was talking about. I think when you start incorporating game APIs and things like that, you can create some really cool experiences just watching your whole live stream sort of change with what's going on in the game. The other thing that pops in my head is, you know, last year we released Collab Cam, which is sort of this feature that makes it really easy to like add your phone, add your iPad, just kind of like easily add as a source another camera. And people have been using it in so many cool ways. Like watching how cooking streams, craft streams are sort of utilizing it. It's like really inspiring. Many more use cases than we even had in mind when we first started working on it with creators.
Yeah, I think, you know, having worked on OBS for so long, there's so many things in the program that, you know, like I was talking about earlier, it's about discovery and kind of exposing them to people, like the projector feature where you can take like your preview or even an individual source or scene and you can put it onto like another monitor or out into a window. I had a fun moment with my friends one time where I opened OBS and I got my opener for Final Fantasy XIV on a new job I was learning, and I put the image into OBS, and then I opened a windowed projector, and I set it to always on top, and I put it on top of my game. So it was just at the top of the screen, and I was just looking at it instead of looking at the game while I was trying to learn how to play this new job. And I just using OBS as just like this multi-tool, and I think that's one of the great things about it, and making that stuff, you know, more visible to users and giving them a better chance to get that is definitely on my list right now.
Nice. So speaking of new tools, things are constantly under development. There's, you know, people are constantly working on new things. So what are some of the things that, down on the end there, that you're excited about, you know, the next thing that's coming out?
There's a lot right now. Like, so especially with COVID, we saw a lot of people kind of outside the content creation space, like get into stuff like streaming, especially as like conference calls and like, you know, Zoom and everything became more commonplace among people. So we've seen a lot more different demographics come in and learn about streaming and kind of see that, you know, enter those industries now as a more commonplace thing. And I think just kind of across the board, it's going to become a lot more popular and more used. Just because the biggest thing with streaming has been like hardware improving so much. You know, 10 years ago, it was basically impossible for most like home computers to do like real-time live encoding of video data. And now it's just a piece of hardware that's on like almost every GPU now. It's just part of the computer now. So I think as hardware continues to improve and as we get more dedicated things for streaming, we're just going to see it kind of proliferate just throughout all industries and all spaces. And seeing that growth has been really interesting and really exciting.
Yeah, you know, there's millions of people that are using OBS as their broadcast software and using tools like Streamlabs tipping, Streamlabs alerts, Streamlabs widgets. We've very quietly been working on building a plugin for OBS that we've been collaborating with the OBS team on. We very kind of stealthily in our booth, we have a demo station where folks here can get a preview into sort of the alpha, the kind of first version that we just sort of managed to put together in time for the event, and get a taste of that a little bit. But we are collecting information for folks that want to be a part of that beta. I think it's going to be pretty exciting. It's a lot of really cool one-click install overlays, easy access to Streamlabs widgets within OBS. It's something we've had a lot of conviction behind for a long time, and we've been working with the OBS team, which has been a really great partnership. And yeah, we're really excited for everyone to kind of check this out. It's funny because we kind of did it very stealthily, right? And I think after this, maybe there'll be many more people at the booth wanting to try it out. So I'm sorry for anyone at Streamlabs working the booth for the rest of the day. Yeah.
No, I definitely recommend people go by the booth and check it out because it is really awesome to see, and just the convenience is super helpful to users, and it's been really exciting to see how fast it's come together on your guys' side too.
Speaking of the booth, I have a meet and greet there after this, so if anyone wants to hang out, because I feel like nobody's going to show up, so just letting you guys know.
I mean, we got to turn out here. I think
everyone here
has
has
to come down.
Yeah, that's true. If you want to say hi, 2 o'clock at the Streamlabs booth. Also, can I just say, you're like really good at panels. You're like smiling and doing all the answers and like talking. And like I'm over here like trying not to have a panic attack every 2 seconds. I'm learning so much. Okay, you were asking about tools earlier.
Yeah.
Bro, okay, I hate to break the third wall here, but I just gotta be real with y'all. So, I work with like Streamlabs a lot, and they were like, hey Boze, we need you to like talk about this new product we have called CrossClip. And so I'm like, okay, like, yeah, let me, I always, I'm gonna actually try the product before I like promote it, right? And I go in there and I start using this thing, and I'm like, this is good. Because all you gotta do, and look, this is not like a pro, I'm just like telling you guys straight up. You just take the Twitch link and you just put it on the mobile app, and then you can like change the layout like easier than Premiere, and then you can mute stuff, you can add text, you can do all that. I was like, y'all built this? Like, this is nice. And I mean, it's really important because as creators, we have to be the host, you have to be the producer, you have to be the director, you have to be the like creative producer, you also have to be the marketer. And now, when you really think about it, you also have to be the programming manager, understanding your audience, demographics, who they are. This is a 6-person job, and at large studios, this is a 100-person job, right? But that is what you're required to do to essentially do this job. And one of the biggest parts of being a content creator is marketing your product. So when you now have to edit your own things, figure out a syndication strategy, and it's difficult to get the clips in the first place, guess what? I have depression. I'm not gonna do it. So, I mean, having these little things that, having tools, and like I talk about this a lot in like artificial intelligence and stuff like that. What I find tools and like AI and things like that are think about things that you're not very confident in, whether it's editing, whether it's marketing, whether it's, speaking. You can use these tools to basically push yourself through that lack of confidence and get through to the other side where like you do know what you're doing, right? And so once again, CrossClip, that thing slaps, dude.
It's just like fun to use, right?
Dude,
I love the UX.
It was easy. Like, this is not a promo. I mean, I guess it is, but like, it's just like raw. It's real. Sorry, I talked so much, Hunter.
There's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that goes into it, and speeding up and streamlining that process is like super helpful to you guys.
Dude, did you make that? That thing is a banger.
Yeah. Well, these guys.
Yeah, Tom is a developer
We're two
of ours.
different
He made it. It's absolutely incredible. It's a super fun tool.
Yeah, I was shocked. Okay. Oh, I don't.
No, yeah. No, but I mean, no, I think that's exactly to your point, though, is that, speaking on COVID, because, anybody who has been paying attention to Twitch viewership numbers saw just the absolutely astronomical spike that happened as soon as everybody was stuck inside. And I think that, in my mind, I definitely classify there is sort of a generation of streamers that are the pandemic streamers. And, it's the individuals who said, well, I always wanted to give this a try, and I've got nothing else to do. I'm not going anywhere. I might as well give it a shot now. And I think that, as creators, it's difficult to step into that space because you're right. I think a lot of people do run straight headlong into that wall of, oh, I can't just go live and people find me like magically. That's just not the environment anymore. And the industry is just constantly shifting and changing. And even if you look at the creators' like strategies that they had for growth and marketing and exposure and things like that 5 years ago versus now, it's a completely different landscape. One of the big things that we all found out, I think, yesterday morning was the change in terms of service around multi-streaming. So this is actually a fairly large industry shift and allows people to, really become not just streamers, but creators across all platforms. And Halite, you've been all over the place as well, you know, having done Twitch, YouTube, you know, and then I think I first saw your content on TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, so what has been like that journey of like deciding where to go? Like, how did you you know, kind of make those decisions?
Yeah, so what Boze was talking about with like the amount of work that you're having to do on one person, sometimes two, sometimes three, as you grow, like you can start to develop more of a team, but then you get into the problem of like trying to be a manager, and like I'm trying to create content, and so I'm not very great at managing people. And so like as you get better and better at creating content, you start picking up more and more skills, and you start trying to do more things, and then as you get better, you're wanting to bring in people who are better than you at those different roles, and like it kind of got to a point where like I was timing myself out. Like if I was going to be live for 4 hours a day, and then I was going to make content for 4 hours a day, and then I was also going to try to manage the people who are working with me. Like, I mean, I think that there's a clip of Ludwig on Colin and Samir, and he was like, who's doing the streamer's laundry? And he was like, the answer is nobody is. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, you get to this point as you, I just really love making content. So like as time has gone on, I've loved this more and more and more, and so I choose, in a weird way, myself less and less and less, because I'm so passionate about making content. And so you get to this point where you have to make a decision on what you're going to do, what you're going to outsource, like what strategies are best for your growth, and then like choosing between marketing and creative direction and writing, and like there's so many different layers to creating content that you can like go down a path and get so good at, which is why like these tools that are saving creators time, like you talked about, like it's so vital that we're able to utilize tools to make these systems more efficient. So I went to school for supply chain management, and so like sometimes I can get nerdy on like systems and operations and stuff. So yeah, it's just, if you like take a big step back and you look at like what creators are needing to do to be successful as a content creator, I mean, it is a huge task. And then you also have to just be talented in general, and so that's why I always talk to people about how like I don't think that I'm like special or anything. I just like won't quit. And so like I mean, I've been doing this for so long, and there are like highs and lows and highs and lows, and so yeah, I just think that content creation evolves over time, and so switching platforms and going from maybe streaming more, creating content more, just whatever is that creative itch at that point is what I always choose to follow, because at the end of the day, like I don't want to just be streaming arbitrarily. Like I feel like it's like disrespectful to the people who are taking time to watch me, and then that goes to the like being able to multi-stream now. I think it is phenomenal for all content creators. I think that it is the most important thing in what we do is to be focused on the people who are engaging in our content. And I think the same thing could be said for the platforms. Like the creators are the life force of the platforms. And so I think that whenever I go to make a video, I want to be focused on my viewer. I want to be focused on creating an ending or a story that they love. And so I think that platforms coming together and making sure that we're creating an environment for creators to thrive and make sure that they love the environment, I think this is a huge step forward, and I think that it's like really, really good. And so I think it's like this parallel between being a creator and wanting to be focused on the people who are watching you, and then like the same for the platforms, like wanting to see them be more focused on the creators. And I think this is a huge step in that direction.
Yeah, I think that the simulcasting actually, like you were talking about, like being the business person or the manager and stuff like that with it. The simulcasting is the first step in us kind of realizing the platforms are kind of our friend and not our enemy. A couple years ago, there was all these exclusive contracts, exclusive this, and then being mad at the platforms you're on, whether it's Twitch, whether it's YouTube, all these kind of things. And then now, as creators, now we're making business decisions. I can't even pick the game that I want to play today. One of my favorite things that I heard ever was from the lead singer of Korn, Jonathan Davis. He says one day, he was like, I signed up to be in a rock band, not be a businessman. And when we're like, kind of deciding what platform to use, when it was like all these different benefits and where should you sign, where should you be exclusive, I don't want to think about that. So I like that they actually
took that layer out of it, the competition. It's just kind of like deciding what you have the bandwidth for. Once again, you know, going back to that programming thing, when you're deciding where to stream, you don't want to dilute your audience too much when you're first starting to get into streaming. You know, it's complicated, but at least we've, like, you know, broken down some of the business barriers. You know, we're friends now. We're all friends. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's just such an important, like, when you think about the long-term trend here, right? It's like what it took a decade ago versus now, right? There's no such thing as just being on one platform anymore, right? You're sharing things across platforms. And sometimes it's horizontal, sometimes it's vertical, it looks different, it feels different. And so I think, like, as tool makers, it's really our job to stay ahead of this, to build the tools to support this. And, you know, I don't think there's anything that would indicate that the trend's gonna reverse or change. I think it's gonna be something that's only more true like 5 years from now than it is today, than it was 5 years ago. So I really think it's on us to just make those processes easier and easier and easier so creators are able to focus on creating content, right? And I think that's why CrossClip has been as successful as it has. It does a great job of that, right? If you want to take your clips and your content from your live stream and you want to make it cool vertical video, it is so seamless and fun and quick, and it lets you get back to, like, you know, what you want to be focused on and what you should be focused on.
Yeah. So from the tech side of things, like, you know, major shifts in the industry like this, I'm sure, you know, cause you know, potentially a lot of conversations on Slack. As the industry makes these changes, how do you, like, keep up? Like, what is your strategy for keeping up with just, you know, to that point of the streaming industry 5 years ago is very different from what it looks like now. You know, how do you keep a pulse on that, and how do you stay ahead of that curve?
Yeah, it's a lot. The biggest thing right now is, you know, vertical streaming. A lot of people want to be able to, you know, go live on Twitch with, like, you know, 16:9, and then go live on something like TikTok with 9:16, have the horizontal and the vertical. There's a couple amazing plugins out there, which I think is one of the great things about OBS, is the ability for people to create that stuff. It's also easier for other people to create that stuff, because when something is a plugin, it's okay if it's not quite perfect. It's okay if there's a few rough edges. It's, you know, it's not part of the program. But as soon as something is kind of core and in OBS, and, you know, everyone expects it to do everything and work exactly as they want and work exactly as it should and never break and no bugs and no crashes. So it's really beneficial for us to have that ecosystem where other developers can create things like that. But we definitely keep an eye on those things and think about how we can give that to users in a way that's, like, built into the program. And it has caused me a lot of sleepless nights trying to figure out how to support something like having a set of scenes for horizontal and a set of scenes for vertical, and linking them together and making them follow each other, but not if you go to this horizontal scene because there's not a vertical version of that scene. So instead, and then we have audio tracks where you can have 6 different layers of audio, and maybe you want to send one layer of audio to this website and this layer of audio to this website, and trying to build that into a nice cohesive package that is easy to understand is not easy. It's difficult. We have a lot of, like, mock-ups and designs that we've gone through, and we're making progress on it and on those ideas. And I don't know how many of them will end up manifesting in the program. No promises today, I'm sorry. But we are thinking about it, and we are keeping an eye on it and seeing, you know, which ways we can help creators, you know, as these things evolve.
I think so much of it, too, is just, like, listening to the community, right? It's like following the memes, paying attention, kind of seeing what's happening and talking to creators, right? I think it's super interesting when I think about just some of the features that we've built and how it kind of emerged, right? Like, you know, we were very interested in vertical streaming, and, you know, we talked about the dual output feature for a very long time. And then it was like, you know, when Ninja started needing it, we were like, okay, like, if we built this, would this actually be really helpful to you? And it was like, yeah, you know, and then we got serious about it and we built the feature, and now it's demoed at the booth. You know, I think it's paying attention, noticing the trends, making sure that everyone understands what's happening, and then building it and making it happen. You have to build some conviction internally, I think, around, like, hey, this is something that we think is really going to help a lot of people. This is going to be important, and then just commit to it and make it happen.
I think one of the advantages for you guys, too, is that because you have kind of, you know, a specific demographic of, like, the creators, being able to do something like dual output specifically, you guys just have a dual output turn on. With OBS, because it's kind of this open platform and this like abstracted framework, if we do something like that, we're going to have someone come to us and be like, well, what if I want 3?
There you go. Yeah.
And then the UI has to completely change. Now people are, well, what if I want 4? And what if I want 5? And so we have to build a lot of these systems to be kind of abstract and open and be able to handle these arbitrary cases, which I think is one of the advantages for your guys' tools, is you have kind of specific people you're tailoring this towards, and you can build things that way for them.
And I think that's why we're so excited about the plugin, right?
Yeah.
Because now it's like all of a sudden we have a way to kind of bring a lot of this to the OBS users.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
I think from the creator standpoint, I think that it's very interesting to hear you guys talk about like the developments that are being made, because it sounds like it's something that's like niche at first, but then a lot of us are wanting like to be able to vertically stream at the same time as horizontally stream. Like that's a huge deal a year ago. Like I would have been so grateful. And so for you guys to have worked on that and then to implement it and allow the masses to use it instead of like, if I want to do that, I have to go and like find someone to code it for me, like make all of that happen. And so I feel like sometimes as creators, we can like lack a little bit of gratitude for you guys going in and making these like programs for us. Like I feel like I've never like reflected on like the amount of work that you all are putting into something that was niche at first, but it like solves so many people's problems, and then making it available for the masses and allowing everyone easy access to something that like someone like Ninja needed. And you know, like we don't have the resources like Ninja does. And so yeah, you guys going in and creating these solutions for everyone, it's something that I feel like sitting here, I'm like, man, like I should definitely be more grateful for the work that you guys are
It's
putting in.
mutual,
So
right?
thank
It's
you.
like,
Yeah.
I think that's what's so great about the community, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that are using OBS, I think almost every creator probably has at least one plugin. And if that's the case, I do recommend like go to that creator's website or their Patreon or whatever, like, you know, show them some appreciation, at least show them some thanks, you know, tweet them like, thank you so much for creating this plugin. You know, OBS also has an open collective in Patreon that people can support. We don't really like put it out there because we don't want to, you know, be too aggressive about that, but we do appreciate the people who do support us, and I really recommend people, you know, show some love to the plugin creators because there is some amazing stuff out there.
Definitely. Yeah, and I mean, I was going to say, I remember the early days of TikTok live gaming where, you know, either you had the phone pointed at you with a paper sign that said, I'm not reading this chat, or I think I saw somebody at one point using like a hand mirror to like reflect their monitor back into their phone. So the ability to you know, integrate these tools was absolutely solving a creator need, and you know, it's important to be able to react quickly to these needs, I think, because, you know, when the industry shifts in this way that we're, you know, not anticipating or you know, not privy to, I think is probably the better way to put it, you know, the ability to be able to react quickly to that new need is extremely important. And, you know, speaking of industry shifts, I think we've seen the streaming industry move from a predominantly, I would say, solely gaming platform to now things like true crime or just chatting or podcasts or cooking or, you know, all sorts of things. You know, how do tools and application developers work to really foster this expansion into these new territories, these new types of content? And, you know, what, from the creator side, what are some of the things that, like, where do we go next? You know, what's like the next thing that we're maybe going to see?
I think in terms of like tools and like just expansion of streaming and stuff, getting started with live streaming is a little bit easier for, you know, the average person to get started doing. And there's so many people that are extremely talented or they have like unique skills and abilities. There's just one chick I watch all the time that she's like a ventriloquist, and she just like sits there for hours like on TikTok just like singing with the ventriloquist. I'm like, yes, go girl. And like TikTok makes it very easy to just press the button and get right on there. So as we start to like see, you know, OBS and like the tools that you guys work on make it extremely easy for anybody and everybody to get on. It could even be like, you know, when you're downloading these programs, it's like, what is your computer like level of expertise? Like easy, intermediate, advanced. When we hit that easy button, it's just like, okay, go live, put this here, da-da-da-da. We're gonna really expand the amount of like talented or unique people that come into the live streaming sphere.
I think that we're going to see, like, I think that we've been trending towards like overstimulation a lot with streaming, and just content creation in general. So I think we're going to see like a turn. Like whenever I was getting started, I wanted the overlays that were like super colorful and like flashy and stuff. And like now I don't like want anything on the screen. Like I just want my camera and like sometimes maybe not even that.
So
like,
move towards minimalism.
Yeah, like I think that we're gonna see a lot more human connection because we talked about whenever COVID started and people were turning towards online communities to like have that sense of belonging. I think that we're going to start seeing that become more of a trend with where content's going to go, because I think that like right now everyone is like vying for people's attention. Like everyone just wants everyone's attention all the time. And so like the way I see it right now is that like you can hack a viewer's attention span and then get them to like the end of a video or the end of a stream or like the end of something that you're working on. And if it's like the old Cracker Jack box like meme where it's like you get to the end and you solve the puzzle and it's like buy more Cracker Jacks.
Yeah.
Like if people like see, if I do something like that, people see my face again. Like the next time that they come into my stream, they see anything that I do, they're just gonna scroll or move past because I took advantage of the attention that they did give me. And so I think that we're gonna see a lot more content creators going away from using things and trying to create more of a connection with people and like trying to like really provide value to their viewers. Yeah, that's the way I think that things are going to start turning.
It's like a more genuine connection with the audience.
Yeah, I think we're going to go towards less is more.
Yeah.
In the coming years.
I think next year is going to be interesting. It's an election year, right? So I think that's going to be really interesting to see like how live streaming and live streaming platforms are embraced in that, right? I think since the last election, we've seen like AOC doing streams with Hassan that have gotten a ridiculous amount of concurrent viewership and stuff like that. It'll be really interesting to see like what that means next year and what that looks like. I think something that like feels inevitable, right? And it's not popular in like Western markets yet, but like live stream shopping feels like it will eventually be something that is big. And I think that could be really interesting for like creator monetization in general and what that could mean over there. So excited to see that trend sort of evolve more. In Asia, there's many examples of that being like a very dominant form of social commerce, but it's still very nascent, in Western markets. So I think that'll be another one that it'll be really interesting to see like what that does, right? Because I think, making that jump to being able to stream full time, to be able to really focus on it, like anything that can aid on the monetization side for creators, I think is absolutely critical. And, we'll always see attention there. So I'm actually curious to hear what you think about like live stream shopping, and do you think that'll be something that takes off in the Western markets, or what do you?
So it's so interesting that you ask this because I very much believed this heavily. I was like, there's going to be a 2023 Billy Mays or somebody like this, and I put a lot of money into filming an entire 3 episodes? Sorry, my assistant's back there. Three episodes of a whole like QVC style show. We tried different TikTok products, went through the 3. I gave my honest opinions. I'm throwing them out the window and stuff like that. And at the end of it, it actually came off to me as not fitting into my brand because it was clear I was trying to sell products to people. So I think that if that's somebody's entire lane, then like it can definitely work. But I mean, one thing I'm seeing right now is like the marketplace on TikTok Shop, like they were getting me at first, and now it feels like a TJ Maxx or like, people trying to like, sell stuff like at the mall, and they're like, you're gonna love this, you're gonna love this, And so I personally, as somebody that was sucked into it at first and even tried to hop into the trend with a large budget, we scrapped the entire show. I feel like it really depends on your brand, but I think what we'll end up seeing is less creators doing it because you're going to lose trust with the audience. If you're constantly selling products 24/7, you are going to lose trust with your audience at some point. And I think what we'll actually see more are businesses that employ different people on a commission base, and like those people aren't more so standalone creators. They're like, it's more so the business that's doing it, and then those people split off and then go do their own thing, and then I don't know. That's just how I feel.
It's kind of like what Halite said. It's about being authentic and genuine to your audience. We're going to trend more and more towards that, I think.
Yeah, I think I just I felt like a sellout. I did.
And your audience can feel that. They can sense
Yeah.
that when you feel out of place.
And I mean, I was even completely honest about the products, and at the end of the day, I was like, I don't know if anyone from if anyone knows my content. One day we're gonna do like a nightmare montage of like what that show was, because it was objectively funny. But I really felt like I didn't want to add being a seller to like part of my brand. I very much pick and choose the products I do, and so if you're somebody that has to sell 5 to 10 products per week, you're gonna start lying eventually. Like, and that's just how I feel. That might be too critical of an opinion.
No, I think you're 100% correct though, because one of the things I doom scroll TikTok on a nightly basis, and one of the things that I've started to see more and more of is, I think they're calling it like the de-influencer trend. It's essentially, you're right. It is that content creation centered around honesty and connection and real genuine humanity. Because, I think to your point, like, a lot of work in the industry comes in the form of these brand deals. And we've all seen the, 30-second ad break in the first, 2 minutes of a YouTube video, for example, or what have you. And, I do think that you're right, that there is that trend towards wanting to be, very open. And I'd like to ask some questions then around, sort of the emotional process of content creation, sort of, frankly, the toll that it takes, and putting a lot of hard work into something that you ultimately don't feel is maybe releasable, or you don't want to put it out. Like, that does start to take a toll on you. So, what have been some of your strategies as creators to combat that? Halite, even you said there's ups, there's downs. How do you continue to push through? Like, what have you found as, the thing that you keep coming back to?
I think that I think what's really fun about content is, like, you'll get to a point where, like, you can turn and like look at the money and then like just like run towards the money, or you can like turn and look towards like art and creativity and run towards that. And that might sound like super cheesy and cliche, but like the reason why I bring that up is there are gonna be times like with the downturns, like I have videos that just go insane, and then I have the next video I upload will literally flop. And so I think that knowing that what I did with that video was creative, and I know that I was working my hardest to create a great video for the viewer and not just for myself, it allows me to go home and like sleep at night. And, but ironically, the videos that are the worst for me are the ones that I'm either like trying to like create my own brand, like I'm trying to like cash grab, or I'm trying to like overly monetize, but before that's something that I should be doing. And I think that I think that it's just so obvious and apparent. And so the way that I get through all of the highs and lows of content is staying focused on like the art behind what we're doing. Like I'm like looking towards Hollywood and like how they're creating films. I'm trying to bring that into a 60-second video. Like whenever I create a short form video, like I want a full A story, B story. I want there to be a theme and like character development, like all of this stuff. And like to me, that's so fun. And we have such a great opportunity as creators to like take this new medium of short form content and make something special with it and like move content forward. And so like it's like a privilege. And so if video do bad, then like sometimes I just have to like it is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
I think it sounds corny to say, but it's true. Content creation really is an emotional process. Creating anything, like developing the products and everything, it is an emotional process, right? So anytime that we are doing our work or our art or anything, in my opinion, you have to have essentially like almost like a business statement, like your mission statement, so that every single action that you do goes through this filter of why am I doing it? Anytime you have a negative emotion, you're not just sitting there with a negative emotion, it's going back through, okay, well, why am I doing this? And it helps pull you back up. When you have to make a moral choice in your content creation, you run it through that business mission of why am I doing this? And everything becomes more clearer, and everything that you do is incredibly cohesive. I have a specific purpose for why I do true crime. And, if you're streaming or if you're gaming or something, okay, this is just me giving it to you raw right now, okay, guys? So all too often, I see people's mission statement when they're 2 to 3 years into content creation as, I just want to make people happy, or I just want to make people laugh. And if you're crying over an edit or producing something and you're like, I need to do this because I just want to make people happy, you're going to lose it. You're going to break down. Your content is going to become weak. Your will to go on is going to be weaker, right? So when we're developing products or we're creating content, you must have a strong why. And everything you do anchors back into that why, and it makes everything worth it. It makes everything genuine. And afterwards, also, the money will come. If you are being true to yourself and being true to your art, it may take a while. Get a job if you have to while you're like streaming and stuff. I see people all the time post the tweet, I finally quit my job today and like I'm full-time streaming, and it's like, are you ready for that? Like truly, like, you need to be emotionally stable and you need to be financially stable in order to do this thing, right? Sorry, I said I was giving it to you raw, but I mean, it's, it is what it is. But yeah, once you have that reason why, and once you have your emotional and mental stability, you will go so far and the money will come. So never make that your baseline of why, Like we were talking about the shopping thing a minute ago, if your why is, well, I see so much BS on the market right now, I want to show people the actual products that are good and bad, and I'm not afraid to lose sponsors or, lose money buying a product or something to get that message out to people, that's a strong why. And then that might make you a good shopping person.
I think that's very well said. And I think, absolutely, give a round of applause for that. No, that's incredibly well said, and it's very, very important because I do think that, I think one of the difficulties with content creation is the content that people are exposed to as individuals who are wanting to get into content creation for the very first time is highly successful creators. Those are the videos that the algorithms push. It's the videos that we see most frequently. And so there absolutely is this illusion of ease around content creation because you see Mr. Beast, you see, the #1 streamer, whomever, XQC, like you see all of these individuals constantly because that is their sphere of influence. And I think that does absolutely sort of not intentionally, but promote this idea of streaming is easy. That all you got to do is get on to Twitch, play a few games, and count the checks. And I think that the really important thing for the creator economy is new people coming in and keeping them around, right? Because if there are no creators, then there is no content creation space anymore, right? So then I think from the tech side of things, what are some of the mission statements, your core mission statements to ensuring that we are bringing new creators in, and what do we do to try and keep them on brand, on the mission statement?
Yeah, it's kind of like the iceberg meme, or like when you're seeing the video, you're seeing the tip, like you're seeing the result. You're not seeing all of the work that goes into it behind the scenes. And I think with us, it's really just finding ways to provide tools for that. I think the biggest thing with streaming in general is just the improvements to hardware over the years. Originally, 11, 12 years ago, it was impossible. You could not do a live stream with a home computer. They just weren't powerful enough. And so as things have grown, as technology evolves and computers can do more, I think we're going to see a lot of streamlining of those processes and creating more tools and making things easier. And because GPUs have an encoder chip on them now, being able to do multiple streams off of your GPU, before when your computer could only do it with the processor, and you could barely do 720p 30, and your room would go up 5 degrees because your computer is trying to do what should be impossible for that kind of hardware. And so I think the biggest thing is just letting these tools do more things and helping the creators with all of that stuff that happens behind the scenes and all of those processes.
Yeah, I think especially in our onboarding, right, for new users and everything else, like when we have a new streamer that's coming in, right, helping them just set themselves up for success, right, understanding that, you really need to understand your why, you have to really have that motivation. Odds are your first stream, you might not have viewers, right, you might have many streams without viewers, right, but you have to kind of keep at it, you have to create a schedule, you have to stick to that schedule. It's like there's so many sort of like basic, very fundamental things that need to happen. So the more we can help people that are sort of entering the space and want to start creating, like just understand what's involved, show them the tools and the things that are going to help them do that. I think that's what we see is like, the biggest challenge that we face, right? I think when you look at sort of creators entering the space versus like other kinds of software and things like that, it's very hard to kind of remain motivated when it's going to be very challenging, right? You're going to have those ups and downs, and navigating those is going to be really hard. So the more we can provide information, we can provide resources, we can talk about things like burnout and how to avoid burnout and stuff like that, right? I think that's, we're very, very focused on everything we can do to sort of aid streamers here, and I think it's only going to be more and more important as more people, are interested in, we want them to be successful in the end, right? We want people to stick to it, to sort of find, find their why, get to that point where they have that motivation to keep going, they understand what they're trying to accomplish, and they're able to kind of keep at it and do it long term, right? And in many cases, right, like, you're going to be doing that, balancing other things to be able to financially take care of yourself and everything else. So yeah, I think for us, it's a big challenge that we really try to handle in onboarding, and we really try to like, help people set themselves up for success and share a lot of content around these topics.
Yeah, I think the 5 of us on this stage probably represent, I would say, like maybe 60 some odd years of combined experience in the industry. I have a question. How do you feel? Do you feel as though we have an obligation as creators and developers to foster that next generation? And, do we in order to keep the industry alive, like, do we have an obligation to sort of help out that new next generation however we can?
I mean, I'm literally only here because of the people who came before me being mentors to me. Like, I have skipped years and years and years and years and years and years of failures because like, the Bentis is a great example. He's like one of my close friends, and he's a phenomenal mentor. And like, he was the person who was like, I made content for years before I tried to monetize anything. And so like, he instilled that in me. And so like, that was a huge lesson for me. So I knew not to like mess up my community before I even had a chance to grow it. And so like, he does my Invisalign, so that's how but yeah, like that's, I feel like it would be, I feel like it'd be rude of me, and like kind of, I would be lacking gratitude to not go forward after I had these great mentors for myself and not try to help anyone that I can. Like last Tuesday, I had someone ask me to come and speak to their like content creation group and like talk to them about like how to grow and stuff, and they were like so kind, and like it's, while it's like great for me to get to go and like try to give value to them, it's also like super humbling that people like want to hear what I have to say, like want to like, so I think that it's like a great opportunity to like have value exchanged on both sides. And so yeah, I think that less of an obligation and more of like an opportunity to like get to bond with people who enjoy the same things as we do.
Yeah, I think I also agree with like less of an obligation, more of an opportunity. But I think we all kind of like end up leading by example in a way, because when you think about it, we're on what, maybe our 3rd generation of YouTubers. Like this has been going on for like 10 years or so, and we keep learning just from the people right before us. I think it all kind of just gets passed down a little bit, and things change and morph into something else. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about passion and conviction, right? I don't think you enter the space as a creator, as a developer, as an industry participant unless, you really believe in what's happening, right? And you want to sort of make these things big. You want to see these things succeed, And I think a lot of that, like, I think I see it across creators, emerging developers in the space, people on our teams across the board. It's something that, like many years ago seemed like impossible, right? And it's just absolutely incredible the kinds of content that are being created today and what someone can get done in their living room by themselves. And it's just mind-blowing to think of that 20 years ago, right? And so the idea of what can that mean 20 years from now, right? How cool can we make it? Like, what will be possible? It's so inspiring, right? And I think it's just amazing to see, like, even, you know, like on the largest scale, right? Like, you know, before I was in the streaming world, I was in the consumer product world, right? And just to see that, like, all the biggest emerging consumer product brands are creator-driven now. Like, that's really mind-blowing. You know, I've been in those meetings with the Walmarts and the Targets where you're trying to get products in, and the fact that creators have been able to accomplish that is very exciting, right? So I think it's about having that passion and that conviction of what you want the future to be like and just embracing it, right? And I think creators are the best examples of it, and closely thereafter, I think everyone in this industry.
Yeah. I'd say for us, it's kind of intrinsic to the project itself, is that the whole idea is, you know, free software for streaming and recording for everyone. And that's always been the goal from the start. It started with one person who wanted to be able to stream StarCraft, and a lot of other people came together to work on it. And so for us, it's part of the identity of the project, of, you know, creating this thing that is available for everyone to use in whatever ways that they want or can think of. You know, the creative ways that people have used the software, sometimes are not really what we intended, but it's wonderful to see, and it's amazing to see, and just the ways that it's able to empower people to create things. And so that really drives us, is to continue supporting them in that way, and finding ways to give them chances to surprise us, really.
It's so inspiring, right? How OBS is volunteer-driven. It's absolutely incredible to think about something that is, you know, so widely used, is just driven by passion. Is super cool.
Oh my God, it's all volunteer. Should we donate more?
Up until only a couple years ago, there was only one developer that was essentially paid full-time to work on OBS, which is Lane, the original creator. We have our sponsor program. You know, Logitech is one of our premier sponsors. Twitch is one of our premier sponsors. They're actually the oldest sponsor of the project. They were the first ones to support us, really, even before the sponsor program was really an initiative that we had for companies to support the software. So yeah, I've contributed to OBS for 10 years now, and I haven't gotten $1 for that work.
Oh my God, we gotta send them a little note.
You did mention there is, I believe, a Patreon, or there are ways to contribute to the project, so make sure you go check that out.
Oh my God, I owe y'all a lot of money.
It's passion, the same way that, you know, a lot of creators start out with, you know, it's a passion-driven thing. Like, you know, I don't want to stream on Twitch and play video games to make money. It's because I want to stream on Twitch and play video games and hang out with my friends and my community and have a good time. And like you said earlier, like, the money will come later. If you are genuine and passionate about it, you will get there eventually. And so that's like the spirit of the project as well. We do have some folks now who are, you know, dedicated to the project. They are full-time, handling like structural and organizational stuff. That's been a big focus for us the last little while. You know, before OBS updates just kind of came out when we felt like it. We've been working on getting like an actual proper cadence to that now, so it's about every 4 months-ish. We still don't just like shove it out if it's not ready, which is why version 30 is a little bit not quite ready yet. There's a few bugs that we're stomping out there, but that's going to be coming soon. And just kind of creating that structure, creating that organization, and helping the people who, you know, do want to contribute to the project, you know, passionately, being able to kind of direct that energy in places that is good for, you know, for them and for everyone else.
Awesome. So I think we've only got a couple of minutes left, but I want to ask one final question before we all head out here. If you could just snap your fingers and will a brand new feature into existence, what would it be? Like, what would be that tool that you're like, that's what I want?
Maybe cross-clip 2, you know, I love
Cross-clip 2.
cross-clip 2, but I going back to that thing with how we as creators are marketers too, like to be able to see like you know, top clips across Streamlabs or something like that, you know, this week or something. We just don't really have it anywhere. Whether it's like in a mobile app or whether it's like on the website or something like that. I think it would help out so many creators, big and small.
Yeah, kind of building on that, right? I think for me, how cool would it be if while you were live streaming, whenever something awesome is happening on stream, there's an awesome vertical clip that's created, and you can press a button and that's shared to your socials, driving people back to your stream and everything else, and also just capturing that awesome content.
Yeah.
And how cool if at the end of your stream, there was a nicely edited video, right? That's sort of, hitting the length you want your videos to be and everything else. And, because a lot of it are, things that feel like they could be automated, and now with technology, there's a lot of interesting things happening. But I think something like that would be really cool.
That's the direction I was going to go in. Yeah. So like if I go to make an idea, I'll outline it first, and then I'll write it, and then I'll storyboard it. So if I could input that into a software, and then I go and I record it live, and then the software, I don't know if we'd ever get to this point, but it's sick if we could. We'll try. But if it was able to know exactly the goal, what I was trying to do, move through it and create that for me, because that's it's so difficult to go through after, if you go and you're live for, let's just say 2 hours, because 2 hours live, this is, if you're really on and you're performing for 2 hours, it's very strenuous. And then you have to get done with that, and then you have to go and create the video for the people who weren't able to see it live. So having something like that would be insane.
Dude.
However, I'm extremely grateful for the work that you guys are doing now.
It's okay. This is all hypothetical.
I'm very happy.
Yeah, I think it's the direction we're going. I have very strong opinions on AI art, but I think AI as an aid and an assistant in a way, as a creator, being able to kind of just feed all of your existing content into some algorithm, and then kind of give it a prompt and record a 2-hour stream and have it kind of figure that all out. Having that stuff as an aid, I think, is a direction we're going towards, and might be an actual reality. I think the fantasy scenario of just being able to snap something into existence would be a perfectly intuitive UI and UX for being able to do multiple destination, multiple canvas resolution, video layers output. You want to go to Twitch with horizontal with these scenes and this audio, and this in TikTok with these scenes and this audio, and it just kind of know. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I think
I
that,
hope we can do it.
That is
one day.
oh my God, I'm about to spill the beans here. Wait, how many streamers do we have in here again? How many streamer people? Okay, I'm about to spill the beans on what Hunter said. This is the secret sauce, okay? Because right now, everyone thinks the shorts and stuff, like YouTube shorts or TikTok, Twitch, anything like that, what you're supposed to do is find a funny moment and then upload it, and it's gonna go viral, right? That's actually not it. These clips have to hit multiple beats. It has to set up a story, it has to have a plot line, and at the end, it needs to have a payoff. So that is the secret behind them. Don't just take your funny clips and throw them up there. It's got to hit some beats. Yeah. Now, if you guys make that, we're all going to be famous.
Yeah. There's a really useful tool for anyone who's interested in this. It's very simple. You can look it up. It's on Studio Binder. It's just like a basic story circle. And I think if you're trying to grow in content in any capacity, the best thing you can do right now, and in life, I'm so confident that if I left content creation, I went into the business world, I'd be able to effectively present things and do what I needed to do in the business world from understanding storytelling. And then I think that growing off of storytelling and utilizing that to build your brand is the best thing that you could do. But at a bare minimum, just understanding a generic story circle and utilizing that to take something that's just a clip. I'm a huge fan of a Warzone creator named Sally's a dog, and he changed the way that I made content. He would take a clip that I would post, the full clip, it'd be a 50-second clip, and it was a 2-second segment of one of his videos, and I was like, man, why is he doing that? And then that was kind of what sparked me to learn more about storytelling and stuff. And so, yeah, at a bare minimum, if you want to right now improve the content that you're creating, just go and learn about circular storytelling and the hero's journey and stuff like that.
Sure.
And it's great.
Social media managers, streamers, y'all are about to make a bunch of
Yeah,
money.
for everybody who's stuck around, watch till the end. You've gotten your little secret to success there.
It is a
I hate to cut this off. I am getting the wrap it up signal. So I want to thank all of our panelists for being here. I want to thank all of you for joining us as well. And have an amazing TwitchCon. Come visit us down on the show floor. Have a good one, everyone.
Come to
Yeah, thanks everybody.